is a game changer.
Alright guys, I'm here with Sean today. What we talked about in the last week was we're still following on with our theme of back control, and we looked at breaking open the turtle and specifically taking the back from different positions as well. There's two ends of the spectrum of turtle. One end of the spectrum is really tight. So if Sean has his elbows really tight to his hips, everything's in and he's clumped up like a ball. So a tight turtle is really difficult to get into any space, to lock in things like our seatbelt grip or double underhooks to progress our position. The other end of the spectrum, we've got a wide base turtle. There's a lot more space, but it's really difficult to tip my opponent in either direction, whereas conversely, when my opponent's really tight, it becomes a lot easier for me to tip him over. Obviously, it's not going to be quite that easy, because in reality, a turtle player is unlikely to be at either end of the extremes of these positions, because he knows if he's super tight, he's going to get rolled over, and if he's super wide and spread out, whilst I can't knock him over, he's opening up a whole lot of space for me to start moving forward. However, we can start to look at either end of these extremes as kind of checkpoints that give us indications as to what kind of attack we're going to want to favor. So when he's really tight, what I want to do is create a reaction where he opens up enough space to get my hands in. So I'm going to start looking to try and break him down, and either he's going to end up on his side or he's going to base out and open up some space to get some grips in. How I like to start breaking him down to one hip or down to one side is getting my elbow in his hip, cupping the shoulder, and then on the other side I'm kind of pushing against his tricep shoulder, somewhere between the shoulder and the elbow, and my knee is pushing in to his side of his calf or his shin. I'm doing this because when I pull him towards me, I kind of want to stop him basing out on this side, so I can pull him, dropping my knee out of the way, and we break him down to one side. From the other side, elbow in, blocking the basing arm, and knee into the shin. I'm going to pull him to the side, moving back out of the way, and from here I'm in a better position to start dropping my elbow through the gap, connecting my hands in a seat belt, and from here, with my choking arm down, I can bring my knee towards his head, sit onto my left hip, bring my right foot over the top, roll back to the other side with a basic chair sit. Then I can either look to get my hooks in or start to look to get a body triangle. So one more time. Elbow in the hip, knee in the shin, hand cupping the other side arm. Gonna pull back, drop him onto his hip, dropping my arm into the space, connecting my hands, and my knee comes up, opening up space, foot comes over, and I sit back into a chair sit and take the back. Some keys in this movement are, I want my hands connected because a closed circuit around his chest is a big part of what affords me the control that I need to finish taking the back. Another thing that I'm doing is getting low behind his shoulder and pushing forward. If I can keep his shoulders in this plane, it's going to be very difficult for him to turn back. If I don't have that contact or I'm too high, he's just going to turn back in onto his back and I lose all the work that I've done so far. So I'm getting my chest behind his shoulders and pushing in. My knee comes up towards his head, kind of like it's a pillow for his head. What I want to do is tuck my elbow to my own hip. You can see his head lifts up onto that knee. I need to sit back onto my hip in order to get the space and the mobility to get my foot over. If I try and stay facing down, it's going to be really difficult for me to bring my leg up and over. So what I do is I tuck my knee in behind his head, pulling everything nice and tight, getting my elbow and my hip connected. This allows me to sit to my left hip and opens up the movement of my hip to get my leg across to the far hip. And as I turn to my other hip, I can lock in my body triangle or start looking to get my second hook in. Second thing that we looked at here, hands connected, elbow nice and tight, chest into the shoulder, knee is the pillow. He's balled up really tight, so I can't bring my leg over the top. I'm not just going to mindlessly try spamming this technique. I'm going to base my foot and create some distance, get my foot to the top of the thigh, kick down to open up that space, deep to the other side, turn and lock in my position. If there's a huge strength difference between you and your partner, kicking down this thigh might be difficult, but generally speaking, the muscle groups on the posterior chain, my glutes and my hammies, are going to be stronger than his hip flexor muscles, and I should be able to win this battle. Even if Sean is trying to pull his knee to his chest, I should be able to leg press it away and turn him over. One last point that I want to make about this is we focus a lot in class on getting to the seatbelt grip position, but what we want to try and remember is that other grip combinations are possible and the chair sit exists just about everywhere. So whilst I favor a seatbelt grip, a gift wrap with a figure 4 grip on his arm is just as good and can open up the space that I need to get my leg over the top. Sometimes the Kimura grip can be really useful for this as well. Dropping in, opening up the space, getting my foot over the top. Every other part of the movement remains the same. Finally, I can also use a head and arm configuration to do exactly the same thing. And this can bring me into a position where I'm already one step closer to the submission as well. In a later video, I'll talk about what we do when we don't have our choking arm down, when we have our arm trapped under the armpit. But for now, happy practicing. Thank you, Sean. See you guys next week. Oh, he's leaving me hanging. Chair sit. Chair. Chair sit. Chair sit. Chair sit. See what I have to deal with? Oh, now we're in position. Come back up and attempt a chair sit. She's hipping into this top bottom leg. I'm gonna drive in.